Paris is dealing with a huge immigration and homelessness issue. This video is a year old, but I'm sure it has a lot to offer in this regard. It's not very easy finding information on immigration issues and homeless issues in Paris. There's nothing. Everything is from like 7 years ago. Paris has homage to, so many. I mean, this has been a problem for a decade now. There's this video, Paris homeless crisis. We'll watch this one. Why not? So people are saying that Paris is becoming the new United States.
Paris has long been celebrated as the city of light, the city of love, a place of art, fashion, and timeless beauty. The Eiffel Tower stands tall, the Seine winds through picturesque streets, and millions come to experience romance and wonder. But beneath this gleaming exterior, there lies another Paris, one hidden in plain sight. Under bridges, in doorways, and along cold sidewalks, thousands of people fight each night for warmth and safety. These are lives on the edge, individuals running out of time and options, their struggles unfolding just steps away from the world's most beloved landmarks. What does it say about us as modern societies when even the most admired cities cannot shelter their own? How can we celebrate the splendor of Paris when just beyond the glimmering facades, so many are left in the shadows without hope or home?
It's one thing for druggies to be on the road. It's another thing for entire families with babies and...
Elle me jette des pièces comme ça. Mais les pièces, elles tombent dans le trou.
What the shit?
According to the official Night of Solidarity survey conducted in January 2025, 3,507 people were found living without shelter across Paris on a single night, a stark reminder of the city's ongoing homelessness crisis. Despite its international reputation for beauty, culture, and wealth, these individuals spend their nights huddled under bridges along the Seine and in makeshift shelters largely invisible to the throngs of tourists flocking to its iconic landmarks. The number of homeless in Paris is not just a statistic. It reflects a deeper societal issue that has persisted despite France's strong social safety nets.
Dang, man. I never knew it was this bad.
In a city known for its elegance, where the Eiffel Tower sparkles above the twinkling streets,
Yeah, you see all these posts about the Eiffel Tower and
public spaces
beauty of
often
traveling
bear the
there.
weight of this neglected population. The contrast between the grandeur of Parisian architecture and the lives of those without homes is jarring. How many of us truly notice the quiet despair hidden just out of sight of those who sleep where the world walks by? This crisis is not abstract. It is deeply personal. The homeless include families with young children, elderly individuals, and those caught in the cycles of addiction or misfortune. Their struggles are not the result of individual failings, but of a system that, despite its prosperity, has failed to support its most vulnerable citizens.
Man, those are kids.
As we witness this stark disparity, we must ask, is the beauty of a city truly reflected in its ability to care for its most fragile members?
That's very true. The beauty of a city should be determined on how it can take care of its most
but this is important.
valuable members.
Who murdered my sweet little Daniel.
I agree with that. By valuable members, I mean elderly, children,
Substance use
single
is a
mothers.
significant issue among the homeless population in Paris, with studies indicating that between 30 and 40% of those living without shelter struggle with alcohol or drug dependency.
So it's not the majority. 30 to 40% is not the majority.
Et ça me fait que j'oublie.
Warms him up, helps him forget.
Addiction is both a contributing factor and a result of homelessness.
Damn, bro.
For many, substances provide a temporary escape from the harsh realities of life on the streets, whether it's numbing emotional pain, relieving physical discomfort, or offering a brief moment of solace in a world often devoid of hope. The consequences of substance abuse for the homeless are severe.
Is that real? Oh my goodness.
Consequences
No, that's bad. You can't even walk.
of substance abuse
What is that? That has to be some type of homeless shelter.
severe. These individuals are already vulnerable due to their lack of stable housing, and addiction
That's
only compounds
crazy.
their precarious situation. Substance abuse increases their susceptibility to serious health issues,
Like a
such
fucking
as chronic
apocalypse over
diseases,
there.
infectious illnesses, and injuries. It also exposes them to greater risks of violence, both from other homeless individuals and the general public. Tragically, overdose deaths among the homeless are on the rise, a painful reminder of how addiction can rob people of their lives under the most brutal circumstances. Furthermore, addiction becomes a barrier to accessing the support needed to escape homelessness. It obstructs the path to stable housing and employment, two fundamental pillars for reintegration into society. Instead of progressing, those affected by addiction find themselves trapped in a vicious cycle, with their addiction making it harder to find solutions, and their homelessness making it harder to recover. Public spaces become their only refuge, entrenching them in an endless loop of despair. Is it fair to blame individuals for their substance use when it is often a direct consequence of their homelessness?
Is
Addiction
it
is
fair to
rarely
blame
a simple choice.
substance
It is
abuse
a complex response
that's
to
directly
trauma,
correlated with
hardship, and
homelessness?
isolation. Yet,
I mean, what's the
society
statistic on
often
that?
views addiction
People that
as a
become
personal
addicted
failure
after being
rather than a
homeless.
symptom
Is
of
it a
broader
majority?
systemic issues.
I doubt that's the case. These people feel
This
like you usually
situation
have an
is not
addictive
unique to
personality.
In the United States, the conversation surrounding homelessness frequently focuses on opioid abuse, chronic alcoholism, and other forms of addiction that trap individuals in a cycle of poverty and exclusion. While the specifics of addiction may differ between countries, the fundamental struggles remain the same. The human suffering we see on the streets of Paris, those sleeping in makeshift tents or shelters, is not a moral.
Damn, so Paris is having an opioid issue, a homelessness issue, and it's not just the addicts that are homeless. There's a lot of families that are homeless. See a lot of kids, children, single mothers.
Failing of individuals. It's a reflection of a society that has failed to offer them the
Damn.
support they desperately need. It's not just about personal choice. It's about societal responsibility.
It's a hard watch, boys. These look more like fet leans than anything.
The homelessness crisis in Paris,
Look fetid
as in
out.
many major cities around the world, is rooted in deeper structural problems. At the heart of the issue lies a skyrocketing cost of living, with housing prices rising faster than many can afford.
So housing
Lack of
prices are
affordable housing
rising.
options has made finding a stable home nearly impossible for large segments.
You would
of
expect with the increase of homelessness for it to
in the Ile-de-France
stabilize at the very
where Paris
least,
is
or
located, nearly
have an
half of the
increase in
country's
homeless
population
encampments.
is concentrated, highlighting the intense competition for housing in the capital. As demand
Why don't they have homeless
outstrips
shelters?
supply, it's
Hold
the
on, let me
most
see. Do they have homeless shelters? Yes, Paris has homeless shelters and emergency services to address homelessness, though the number of spaces can be insufficient. Wow.
Vulnerable who are left behind. But this problem isn't just about housing. It is compounded by factors such as economic hardship, mental health struggles, and the challenges faced by migrants attempting to build a life in a foreign land.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. A lot of immigrants
As Paris
end up
prepares
going homeless.
for major global events like the Olympics,
You can't survive out there.
authorities
People
have
come out there
implemented
seeking
measures
better life,
such
and
as hostile
they're just
architecture,
stuck on the
concrete
street.
barriers,
And honestly, being stuck on the street
designed to
for a
prevent
lot of these
people from sleeping
immigrants,
on the streets.
if not most of them, is better
Rather
than where they came
addressing the
from.
root causes of homelessness, these measures merely attempt to push the problem.
That makes
out
you
of
think,
public
man,
view.
if someone rather seek
What happens when
refuge in the
society
streets
invests more
of Paris
in
than be where
concealing
they
its problems
were at.
than in solving them? Is this true progress, or simply a temporary fix to a deeper, unresolved issue? This dynamic is not unique to Paris. In America, the factors contributing to homelessness often include inflated healthcare costs, stagnant wages, and the devastating opioid crisis. But there's an additional layer in the U.S., a history of mass incarceration, a lack of universal social safety nets, and fragmented support systems
Damn.
that fail to offer sustainable solutions. Like in Paris, homelessness is not the result of personal failure or poor choices, but a reflection of systemic failure.
People that are able to work, people that are able to do these things and create a life for themselves can't really do it because of the lack of opportunity and the look
A
of it.
reflection of systemic failure. These deeper societal issues compound, leaving countless individuals without a place to call home. In both places, homelessness highlights a stark contradiction. In Paris, the elegance of historic boulevards, cafes, and monuments does little to erase the reality of people left to sleep on cold sidewalks. In America, wealth and abundance often coexist with entire communities struggling to find stable housing. These cities may shine with lights and promises, but in their shadows, people suffer.
Facts.
The question we must ask ourselves is this: if we have the means to build such greatness, why do we leave so many behind?
Facts.
As the world continues to move forward, it's time for us to confront these issues head on and work towards solutions.
And it's important to create that fine line in between wanting to help people that, so there's always the people that want to be helped and then the ones that don't, right? A lot of times in the US, you'll run into the people that they don't want to be helped. They want to be left alone. And even if they want to be helped, a lot of the time you'll see people they're too far gone, right? You can't help them at that point. They're either too addicted or they're involved with things that make it nearly impossible to help them, whether it's gang activity or drug activity. It's bro chief in the vape. What is that? The French government's response.
The French government has not turned a blind eye to the growing homelessness crisis. As the nation's capital and a global cultural hub, Paris has been under increasing pressure to find effective solutions, particularly with the 2024 Olympics drawing global attention to the issue. In response,
That's
the government
so
has made efforts to
stupid,
expand-
man. That's so stupid that we got to rely on the Olympics and like things like that to then start worrying about cleaning the streets, right? LA recently got clean. You know what I mean? And why? Why did LA recently get cleaned? Because this is why they're cleaning up the streets of Los Angeles. Because in 2028, guess what's happening?
its shelter network and has adopted the Housing First philosophy, which prioritizes providing stable housing before addressing other issues such as employment or addiction. Programs like Un Chez Soi d'abord have been launched, targeting individuals with mental health or substance abuse challenges by offering both housing and essential support
So
services.
fucked up.
What if you can create
You gotta
your
wait
own
for
website by saying, this is what I want.
global
with
media.
links? You can.
You gotta wait for people from all over the world to come to
However,
your city before you
despite
clean
these
it up.
well-intentioned efforts,
That's so
the
fucked.
response has been slow and uneven. Funding allocated to homelessness remains inadequate, and coordination between local and national authorities is often fragmented.
Damn.
The demand for affordable housing in Paris continues to vastly outstrip supply, with shelters regularly reaching full capacity and turning people away.
Yeah, we just
As a
searched that
result,
up.
many individuals
Shelters
and
are turning
families
people
left
away.
without adequate shelter, particularly in winter.
You kind of literally
Humanitarian
apply
groups warn
to go
of
to
the
a
dangers
shelter
of
like a
freezing.
fucking apartment complex.
Even with France's robust welfare system, it appears overwhelmed by the scale and complexity of homelessness in today's world. More troubling is the perception that some actions have been more cosmetic than truly effective. In preparation for the Olympics, authorities cleared several homeless camps, installing barriers and concrete blocks.
She's smoking the bud.
Cleared several homeless camps.
She's like at the
installing
bud. She is no
barriers
longer
for the
smoking
Olympics.
tobacco anymore.
Authorities cleared several homeless camps, installing barriers and concrete blocks under bridges to prevent people from returning to these areas. While these measures may have temporarily cleaned the streets, they do nothing to address the root cause.
Kicked all the homeless people out,
In fact, such
cleaned up all the
tactics
tents, and then
simply
they're still
push
there.
the issue further
Homeless
into
people
the
just
shadows,
walk
making it less visible,
5,
but
6
no less
blocks
real.
down.
This frustration will sound familiar to many Americans. The image of encampment sweeps, often framed as efforts to ensure public safety or urban renewal, is all too common. Yet, much like in Paris, these actions rarely come with the necessary housing or services to provide long-term solutions.
The government's going out, cleaning all these encampments, and then not providing any other place for these people to go. So it's just for looks.
When
They
comparing
just
Paris
pack their
and
things
Washington,
up and go
there are
somewhere
both
else and set
clear
back up.
similarities and differences. Both cities are symbols of political power and cultural influence, where monumental buildings and symbols of authority stand just steps away from the most vulnerable members of society. As of early 2025, Washington, D.C. had over 5,100 homeless individuals, marking a small decrease from the previous year. This reduction was partly due to housing vouchers and transitional housing.
I stayed
but
in
the issue
DC
remains
for quite a while.
unsolved.
DC was pretty crazy. Certain areas. Call it the
In the US,
DMV.
Homelessness is deeply affected by the country's federal system and political disagreements. Washington, D.C. operates under a mix of city-run programs and
Right,
federal.
it's been so long since I've been there. They call it the DMV, right? Yeah. DMV is a common way to refer to broader Washington, D.C. I know a lot of people relate DMV to Department of Motor Vehicles.
Implemented new methods to quickly move people into stable housing. Despite these efforts, however, the most controversial approach under President Trump involved a crackdown on homelessness, with National Guard troops and law enforcement sent to break up homeless encampments. Entire blocks of tents were cleared, sending a clear message: Washington would not tolerate visible poverty. For some, this
Washington would
heavy-handed
not
approach was
tolerate
seen as a step toward restoring
visible
order.
poverty.
However, many advocates argued that it merely displaced the problem rather than solving it.
Yeah. That's something I wanted to talk about. I've noticed in all states, homelessness is no longer centralized to like 1 or 2 spots. Now it's spread out. I'm seeing a lot more people that are just like walking down the street or standing and like literally the other day I saw this one lady just stand in the same spot for like 4 hours. I'm not kidding. She stood in the like the movie Smile. She stood in the same spot for 4 hours, just smiling, looking up. And then A couple days after that, I saw another instance of a man who was doing the same shit. So it's like they don't have their own tents or anything. They're just it's gotten to a point where now the homeless people are just walking zombies. You know what I mean? They're just walking around like zombies, staring at things for long periods of time, pissing themselves, pooping themselves in the middle of the road where kids can see, where kids walk by when they're leaving school. So you talk about no visible poverty. Well, now they don't look like they're poor. Now they look like they're insane.
Into new areas, some less safe, or into shelters they didn't trust. Critics warned that such tactics damage the long-term progress by eroding the trust homeless individuals have in the very services meant to help them.
Right.
Paris has not resorted to military force, but its approach before the Olympics shared a similar theme, cleaning up the streets without addressing the underlying causes. Both cities face the same dilemma: how to manage their image as global capitals while struggling with deep social inequality on their doorsteps.
And it's getting late. I'm gonna have to cut this video short. This is jam-packed. Hey, shout out to Daily Homeless News. Homie does not have enough views. He's spitting straight facts.